welcome back to my channel. So for those of you who don't know me and haven't watched any of my videos yet, my name is Laura. I am a nurse and I suffer from anxiety. I suffer from a lot of other health conditions that will be explained further in depth in different videos. But this is part 2 to my anxiety journey. If you're new to my channel, subscribe, like, share, comment. If you have any questions that you want me to answer in any of my videos, feel free. I've had a bunch of messages and emails on different platforms asking me certain questions, but I feel like I need to get more of my story out there before I am able to answer them. And maybe I can answer those questions while I'm talking about it. So I'm trying to remember where I left off. I just got back home from work and it's been a pretty stressful day. And I know that millions of people suffer from anxiety and they just think medication's a quick fix. It's going to work. It's going to help. It's going to get rid of it, you know, and for some people it does. Some people taking an SSRI, you know, which, you know, stuff like Zoloft, Prozac, Vibrate, a bunch of different other things like to help with their anxiety. It does keep it at bay. And then there's, you know, and Valium. There's just to name a few. Just as like a, you know, I'm in an anxious state of mind right now. You know, my regular medication has worked, but today things are just a little bit harder than normal. So if medication is working for you, that is great. I'm happy for you, but there's always an underlying reason why you have anxiety. There's different types of anxiety. You know, anxiety is a constant. It's fear. It's fear and worry. And fear and worry, you know, you're in fight or flight mode. When you're having anxiety, a panic attack, you know, you're in fight or flight mode. So your body is anxious. You get several different symptoms can occur, you know, rapid heartbeat, you know, like, you know, chest pain, numbness in your extremities, you know, the feeling you're going to pass out, dizziness. There's so many symptoms, and a lot of people think and mistake these symptoms for like other things, and they could be other things. Like, you know, there's so many different health problems that can cause anxiety. And you know, back to the types of anxiety, you know, you have general anxiety disorder, which, you know, general anxiety disorder, you're just, no matter what situation you're in, you know, all of a sudden, bam, like you just worry, you fear, you're scared, you panic. And then we have like social anxiety. I mean, there's people that, you know, won't go to a grocery store, won't go out and hang out with friends because they're anxious or nervous around people. You know, that's, you know, that's how they are. That's how people are. That's how I've been. Like, you know, we have, and there's like the specific phobias where you're scared. Like, you know, there's really people that literally are scared to death to go to a grocery store. They're scared to go to a gas station, you know, and a lot of this stuff, like, is just, it's worry, and it's fear. And fear and worry can kill you. I've been told several times by my doctor that my anxiety will kill me before anything else does. You know, when you know, like with a panic disorder, like you literally, like when with me, I wouldn't even leave the house. I was scared. You know, I was so scared to leave. I was scared to be alone. I thought I was going to die. You know, if I was by myself, I was going to die. You know, it was just crazy. And you know, I can openly admit, and like today, I was super anxious on the way home. I felt super, super anxious. I got numbness on one side of my body. And you know, when that happens, like someone will automatically think stroke. And I'm like, no, I'm not having a stroke. This is just anxiety. Just breathe. We'll get through it. You know, I took my medicine. Yes, I'm on medication for my anxiety. I do take an SSRI and I do take a, you know, rescue benzo. But anyway, so different type of anxiety is OCD. You're obsessing it. It's obsessive compulsive disorder. You're obsessing over something, whether it's you know, intrusive thoughts, you know, thinking irrationally. I mean, OCD, like, you know, there's different types. There's like different things that you obsess over. Like you know, obsess over the way something is, like something's not done the way it is and you panic about it, like the way that you want it to, you panic. And then of course we have PTSD. That's another form of anxiety. You know, I also have PTSD. I struggle with PTSD due to things that, you know, and this right here, this is, you know, me being anxious, and I scratch my chest. My chest is always red because I scratch when I'm anxious. I subconsciously do it. And, you know, so PTSD, like, you know, you've gone through some stuff in your life, you know, maybe you've lost a loved one to something, you know, that is completely a 1 in a million chance. And you're traumatized, and you're scared it's going to happen to you, and then it's something you can't get over. Maybe, you know, it's something that, you know, you try to save someone's life and you couldn't. Like, these are things that I've been through. You know, it's just, they haunt you, and it causes you to be anxious. And so following up on, you know, my part 1, you know, I was talking about the doctor that literally, she changed my life in Colorado. She helped me, and I'm trying to stay, like, on track without, like, incorporating, like, you know, all of my other, you know, health issues, but they all coincide with one another. So it's kind of hard. So I'm kind of like separate things so I can talk about, you know, certain ones in depth in different videos, because this is going to be a series, because this is my journey. This is how I've grew as a person. You know, this is how I've dealt with my anxiety, and this is how I've accepted it. For the longest time, I would not accept that I had anxiety. I said, oh, nope, this is going to go away. I refuse to. I wasted so much of my life the past 7 years trying to get rid of it. And I've learned, and I've accepted now, that I'm not going to get rid of it. But it took me so long to accept that fact. It took me forever. But I didn't. I didn't want to accept it at first. You know, I wanted to feel normal again. You know, once you have anxiety, your normalcy is completely changed. I'd do anything to feel the way I felt over 7 years ago before my first panic attack. But I've come to the realization that I'm not going to. And I'm okay with it, because I search for answers. I search for answers all day, all night. I spent so much time Googling stuff. You know, what could this be? What could this be? What could be causing it? Why am I feeling the way I feel? Why am I going through what I'm going through? I found so much information. But let me tell you one thing. Do not Google anything. Googling makes it worse. You know, it does. Never Google your symptoms. You know, you could Google anything, you know, why do I have red dots on my skin? Oh, you automatically think it's cancer. Google will tell you it's cancer. Don't Google anything. If you have anxiety, never Google any symptoms if you're going through anything. I learned the hard way. I'd always Google everything. I wanted to know. I wanted to know then. I'm impatient. I've always been impatient. I wanted to be myself again and be able to raise my kids. I raised my kids, but I know I never feel the way that I felt before. I know I never go back to what I felt was normal, but you know, this is my new normal. You know, what I went through for the longest time with the being scared, you know, I knew I had to do something about it quick. My doctor, she put me on Zoloft. You know, I had tried several different antidepressants, and I'm like, I don't have time for trial periods. I don't. You know, at first Zoloft made me sick. I was super dizzy. I felt like it made my anxiety worse. So she switched me to Prozac. I was on Prozac for a week, 2 weeks. I couldn't function. I know that, like I said, different medications affect people differently. And I said, please just let me try Zoloft one more time. You know, just one more time. I'll try it. You know, I also had at the time I was put on Xanax, you know, just in case I needed it. And I couldn't stand the effects. I tried, like, literally any antidepressant, anti-anxiety medication, I tried it and it did not help. And I was scared because I'm like, wow, nothing is going to fix me. Nothing is going to make me feel normal again. I'm not going to be able to be the mom that I need to be. And I felt like all the time I wasted trying to figure it out, it was taking from my kids. And like I said, I wasted so much of my time, so much of my life trying to figure it out. So on a whim, I signed up for school. I was in Colorado maybe 2 weeks. I signed up for school. I signed up for the first thing, first college I found, first thing, and it was pharmacy technician. It was Monday through Friday, 4 hours a day, 4 to 6 hours a day. And, it was a very extensive program. It's about a year long. It was a struggle at first. Being somewhere new, not knowing anybody. There was times that I ran out of the classroom because of a panic attack. I had to run out and drive home. Like, I just couldn't do it. And then I met this girl, her name is Sierra, and she had become one of my best friends. She also suffers from anxiety. Like I said, different things work for different people, and there's just nothing that I can say that will amount to how appreciative I am of meeting her, because she's the first person I met that had anxiety. And I'm like, how do you deal with it? How she dealt with it was her own story, and that's her story to tell. And so it made it a little bit easier. I was still struggling. I went back on the Zoloft, and the side effects weren't as bad the second time, I guess because I was already on trial period of something else. That switching over to something different wasn't as bad. So along with that, and taking my supplements, my vitamin D supplements, my vitamin B12 really didn't do anything to raise my vitamin B12 levels. And I was also put on Adderall for my ADHD. And, in retrospect, everyone's like, Adderall's gonna make your anxiety worse, Laura. Stop taking it. Don't take it. It was kind of a little patchy at first because, one, I can't concentrate to save my life. I will open up a dishwasher and then halfway fill it, and I'm going to do laundry. But that's a different story. So, take the regimen I was on at the time, it was helping me. But it was also me going to school. I felt like I had a purpose. When you feel like you have a purpose in life, like your anxiety lessens. And I was like, oh, this Zoloft is working wonders. I'm doing great. I'm still having my bad moments, but I still don't understand why I'm going through what I'm going through. So I went back to my doctor. I said, I don't know if I'm just going to settle for this medication. To this day, I still take Zoloft. And I still take Adderall. And I do have a rescue band that I take Klonopin. But, those medications work for me. And Adderall doesn't make my anxiety worse. It's actually not as bad my anxiety is not as bad being on it. So, see, I forgot what I was saying. Out the door. We're already out the door, but you get what I'm saying. So, okay, I wasn't going to settle for just medication. I wanted to dive a little bit deeper, after being in school, learning about, different medications, and what they're used for, different. It's just, I dove deeper. I wanted to do more medically. So I wanted her to do some more blood work. I wanted her to test my antibodies, to see if there is something that I could find an answer to. Like if there was just something out there that was going to just tell me why I'm in a constant fight with myself. Like if there was the reason I was battling myself, constant battle inside of my body. Turns out I have HASHIMOTOS thyroiditis. It is an autoimmune disease that attacks your thyroid. that's going to be in another video. And it's tied into my anxiety. And we will discuss that further. So finding out that diagnosis, and that was just one at that time, I was like, there's an explanation. There is a reason. There's hope. And then, you know, it was like a relief, but then it wasn't, because I'm like, oh gosh, my body's attacking something inside my body. Like, this isn't good. I'm never getting rid of this. I wanted so bad to just be like, let's fix it. Let's get it over with. What do we do? And there wasn't really anything we could do at the time, because, you know, I mean, it's really hard to just stay on anxiety and not dive deeper into the Hashimoto's. I don't want this video to be like too terribly long, because I do want people to keep reaching out, you know, and asking more questions. And, you know, I want to be able to make more videos on this, because there's just so much to my journey and so much that I have, you know, been through and been able to accomplish and achieve and find out more about myself and my body and my immune system and what's going on with me. And, you know, so I found out about that. You know, it was kind of a double-edged sword. It gave me hope, and I was like also scared of it. So then, in turn, my anxiety got worse, because I'm like, oh my God, like, my body hates me. Like, I hate myself. Like, literally, my body hates myself. What do I do? I just decided to put my focus on school. I focused entirely on school and my kids, trying to make the best life I can for them. I actually got my national certification on my son's first birthday, which is February 25th, 2014, is when I got nationally certified as a pharmacy technician. And I did that 3 months before my actual graduation. I did before I completed school. So it's like just little accomplishments, like setting goals for yourself and being able to achieve those goals. You know, that, you know, your anxiety wants you to focus just on your anxiety. It wants to bring you in. It wants to suffocate you. It wants to drown you. And being able to focus on something and accomplish something, like you're doing more with your life. And you're telling your anxiety that you can't control me. Don't let it ever control you. Because when I found out I had the Hashimoto's thyroiditis, and I might as well go ahead and explain it. You know, the antibodies, you have your TPO antibodies, and then there's another antibody, I can't remember the name too, obviously, because things just come and go. Body's attacking my thyroid. My thyroid will eventually die. My thyroid hormone levels have always been normal, but my thyroid antibodies have always been elevated. So basically, it was a waiting game. I had an ultrasound done on my thyroid, and my thyroid is enlarged. I can't, and I don't wear t-shirts hardly ever anymore. I used to sleep in t-shirts, but I can't, because I feel like I'm suffocating, because, you know, just anything being, you know, around my neck, since my thyroid is enlarged, it's not comfortable for me anymore. And, you know, it's something that I have had my entire life. But the thing is, with autoimmune diseases, they don't discriminate. Like, neither does anxiety. Anxiety does not discriminate. So when I found out that I had this, I'm like, okay, well, my thyroid's eventually gonna die. Let's stay on top of it. Let's check my hormones. You know, there's no need to put me on medication at the time, because my thyroid hormone levels were fine. And you know, once I got that diagnosis, like I said, my anxiety went into overdrive again. And I'm like, okay, well, let me Google about Hashimoto's. You know, I'm in a Facebook group about Hashimoto's thyroiditis, you know, trying to figure out what to do, how people do. And you know, I'm sitting here thinking, oh, I'm scared of this stuff. It's like certain diets. Like, I can't do a diet. If I tell myself I'm going to diet, I'm going to want whatever I'm trying to diet from. And, you know, I'm always scared of trying things and medications because you can always have interactions. So you have to be careful when you're on anxiety medication or any medications for that fact. You know, you can't drink while you're taking them. There are certain foods you can't eat, like you can't eat grapefruit or drink grapefruit juice when you're on anxiety medication because it intensifies the effects. And, you know, certain medications intensify the effects, and it can cause too much serotonin in your brain, and you could go into Serotonin Syndrome, which that has happened to me. And that would be another part that I explain on my journey. But with the Hashimoto's, you know, I Googled like crazy. You know, no one else in my family had it at the time. I'm like, why am I so alone on this stuff? Like, why am I alone? I feel so alone because I don't know who to turn to. So I'd go visit my doctor. I'm like, please tell me more, you know. And then it's like, well, let's go to an endocrinologist. I'm like, okay. She did the ultrasound, said, you know, my thyroid's enlarged. Nothing we can do right now because my hormone levels are fine. It's been 7 years. I had my labs drawn a few weeks ago, and this is the first time my labs have ever been abnormal. And it was my T3, which, you know, I don't know if you guys know what different labs and, you know, and hormones or whatever or go with your thyroid, but your thyroid controls a lot of stuff. When your thyroid's out of whack, you know, you got to be on medication eventually. And I think my thyroid is starting to die. Like, it is, you know, and I'm trying, like, to take supplements and stuff to help it. But, you know, in turn, if it does, it does. But Hashimoto's thyroiditis can cause anxiety. And these autoimmune diseases can show their head at any time. And mine decided to show up that first night I had that panic attack. They can lay dormant for so long. And it's usually, they said, you know, after pregnancy or this, that, and the other, you know, that's when certain things start coming out. Because it's such a detrimental change to your body. And then, you know, it took 3 months for me to have a period after I had Mason. And that's when my anxiety started. And that's when Hashimoto's decided to come into my life. And so now I'm trying to figure out what I can do and what I need to do, because my iodine is low, and iodine is a really big factor in thyroid function. So that in turn is what started my anxiety. So there's always a reason why. Never stop giving up. Don't ever give up hope. I'm gonna go ahead and do a part 3 to this, and there's probably gonna be like part 4 to like part 20, 50, whatever, because there's just so much to talk about, and I want to answer all your questions. And I know I answered a few people's questions in this video, so if there's anything else that you want to know that I can answer for you and help you with, please feel free. You can email me, you can DM me on my socials. They'll be in my description box. And just know you are not alone, and there is hope. Like, there is hope, and you don't always have to feel this way. Like, you don't ever have to feel alone, because I'm here for you, and there's so many other people like me that are willing to help you and be there for you as well. So please never give up hope, and know that your journey is not over, neither is mine, and we're in this together. So like I said, reach out to me. I'm always here. I'll always be here. And I do, like, I keep promises. I'm going to be posting, you know, probably every day about my anxiety. There might be a few other videos, you know, that come along that I do in between, but there will be no separation daily from my anxiety story. There's so much I want to help people with, and that's what I want to do. And that is my calling. I love helping people. So let me know if there's anything you want to know. If you want to, like I said, private message me. Find me on social media. Share this video to someone. You know, I posted my part 1 yesterday. If you haven't watched that, watch that one first. And then watch this one, of course. But if someone is going through anxiety and you don't know how to help them, bring them to me. Bring them to me. I'll be more than happy to help. Because I was alone. Or I felt like I was alone because no one understood what I was going through inside. No one understood the fight that I had with myself. But look at me today, 7 years later. I'm still getting diagnosed with medical conditions, but I'm keeping my faith because I've made it this far in my journey with anxiety, and I never gave up. There have been times where I wanted to give up, but I never did, because my kids thrive my life. They keep pushing me. They keep pushing me to be better, to feel better, to do better. And if I can help someone thrive in life and, be happy and get to that point to where they feel okay, or they feel better, or if there's something that I share that I've been through helps you, then to me that is enough. That is enough for me. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video. Just be looking out for part 3 tomorrow, because like I said, I'm doing this for you guys. I want to get my story out there because it's not fun. It's not fun doing it alone. I never want you guys to ever feel like you're alone. So if you ever do feel like you're alone, just come to me, because I'll always be here and I'll always respond no matter what. You'll always have a friend in me. So just remember that.